This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
This is what I love about her. What we're going to talk about today, I'm going to believe, is not exactly what she practices. She has centers for acupuncture, wellness, massage, but she's also a registered nurse, by the way. But this topic is so important. We're talking about hearing loss and how potentially in the near future, there's going to be many with hearing challenges thanks to earbuds, earpods, headphones, all different devices. We're going to dig into that today. Love what she brings to us. Path to Wellness is her practice, and she's Teresa Wilkinson back on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Steve?
Real good, real good. Even before we get going, I am going to say, because of years of wearing headphones, my hearing is not the way it was. And I know what it is. I know what it's from. And even it came to a point, I'd be in a studio, and this is years back, where people in the studio would say, "Why do you have that up so loud?" They could hear my headphones, even though I have them on, what I was listening to. And I'm like, really? He goes, yeah. I didn't realize that I was progressively making it louder because I needed to. And that was then. Think about so many current generations, and even just a few years ago, it's going to be an epidemic. That's my prediction in terms of hearing loss. What are your thoughts?
I agree. And did you know over half of the people over 75 have hearing loss? And we have so many different reasons. Now, my question to you is, I would think that wearing headphones would have protected your hearing.
Well, if you keep turning them louder, no.
Okay. Point made. Okay. So what I think is interesting is just going back to the anatomy of the ear. And then I do treat hearing. It's a common thing, and that's what made me want to bring it up, is because I've had the few people just this past week that have come to me for hearing loss, or what you would call tinnitus, which is ringing of the ear. And so that's kind of the beginning, sometimes a sign that you're starting to have hearing loss. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about, well, there's risk factors I want to talk about, but I kind of wanted to get into the anatomy of the ear. And I don't know if we can see this diagram.
Yeah.
But we've got the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. And what I think is interesting is this is coming right from the entrance of our ear right here through our cheek area. And believe it or not, our eardrum connects with our eustachian tube, which connects with our nose and our throat and everything. So there's actually, our eardrum is kind of like just like a drum. And then we have three little bones that do a vibration that send the vibration into this. It reminds me of a seashell, and they call it the cochlea, but there's actually fluid in there and tiny hairs. Now, the fluid in the tiny hairs, what I think is fascinating is they send an electromagnetic, so there's nerve endings there that send electromagnetic information to the brain. And I think that's fascinating. We go back to this electromagnetic energy stuff, but it's actually these little hairs are transmitting electromagnetic waves to the brain.
Like, when you think about it, it is just, it's amazing. And also, like, I look at it this way. We eat things, right? We're like, my stomach will take care of it. My system, it'll process. You eat this garbage. You throw things in. After a while, your body's going to be like, I can't do this anymore, dude. Like, you can't keep feeding me this. And then you have digestive issues. Now think of your ears. We don't even think about it. We take it for granted that these little hairs are receiving the vibration of air in the air and sending it to the brain. So it'll be fine, especially when you're younger. Man, I don't worry about that. My body's great. It'll take care of it. No. After a while, it says no. And now you have hearing loss. It's amazing how it all works, how sensitive it is.
Yeah, so my big deal is number one, prevention. So many people go to rock concerts, and especially like you say, these coming generations
Yep.
that go to rock concerts, and they're so loud, and nobody's really protecting their ears. Now, I have always protected my ears going back in the day when they didn't really know that much about hearing loss. And even though it was just Kleenex wadded up in my ear, it actually helped prevent damage.
Yep.
So now we have earbuds that are very common, so everybody can have those if they go to a concert or listen to music. Um, One thing, of course, we have the obvious where these guys that are, we've just come out of a 20-year war and there's still more war going on all around the world. And all the explosions and compression and guns and all that cause hearing loss. So veterans will have an issue unless they're wearing hearing protection. A lot of times they're not even thinking of that because they're not thinking, hey, this could damage my hearing for the future. Now, one thing.
And by the way, I want to interject if I may.
Yeah.
You're describing my father. And from artillery going off, he had hearing loss in one ear. And forever, growing up as a kid, he'd what? And
Right.
because they didn't protect, they didn't even think about it.
They didn't even think about it. Now we're more aware.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing is I've had a patient, she's fairly young, around 40, and she plays keyboard at church. Well, right now with the contemporary services, they amp up that volume. Now, a lot of times at the door, they're handing out earbuds to people because they play the music so loud. So she's constantly, even at practice, asking them, please turn it down, please turn it down. So she's wearing ear protection all the time. And then if there's any event, a loud music going off, she is in danger. She has an episode, like say she was at a birthday party, they blew out the candles at the cake, it set off the fire alarm. She's running out of the building. It turns out they rented an Airbnb, or they were at a motel. Alarm went off. She ends up. It's kind of like Murphy's Law. If there's something that's going to go wrong, so she's coming in for a acupuncture treatment to get over that episode. And so I asked her. I said, "Well, have you thought about maybe doing traditional service at a church where you could just play the piano, and then you're not having to be where the
Wow.
music is amped up."
Wow.
But
By the way, when I go to a church, I want to hear it amped up. I love music, so I love live music. And honestly, I'll pick where I go partly based on
on the music.
on the music. Can you? What was her situation where she came in for acupuncture?
It was about hearing.
So what was she describing? Did she feel like something might be up, a little bit of loss? Like what was going on there? Why she needed it?
Okay, so a lot of times the initial thing that people will experience is ringing in the ear.
Yes.
Or the tinnitus. There's muffled sound. There's different factors like you're bothered by background noise. You can't be in social settings. Like, so when I know she's coming in, I turn the music down. I make sure the music is down, not only in the building, but in the room she's going to be in. And I make sure everything, I speak quietly, and I'm conscious of her situation because she's so sensitive. But this is another thing I wanted to bring to people's attention, and that's dealing with, say, their parents and the aging process. So this is a story, and I always like stories because I think they kind of give a clue about real life. But this is a man who had a hearing problem. His children did not live here. They're all multimillionaires. One's in Chicago, one's in Houston, and one's in Colorado. Well, it was the youngest, the daughter, that came in about 10, 15 years ago and got an Apple phone with the hearing aids to go with them. And I will say I've had a lot of people that are younger that have hearing loss that have told me that they love the fact that they can use an Apple phone, or maybe it's an Android too, but it can control, say they're going through an airport, they can do a setting where they can just hear the person they're with and not all the background noise.
Yep.
Or they're at a conference table full of, being at a conference, and they can put their phone in the middle of the table and just hear everybody talking and not background noise. So the key thing about the technology we have is we can use this technology to improve the hearing aid situation. And there's a variety of hearing aids out there, but they've made it now where you can make it more convenient and accessible
Yep.
to your needs in your different environment situations. And so,
yes, fortunately for hearing aids, there's a lot of great technology. It's pricey, but I mean, you can
it's pricey.
Bluetooth to
Yeah,
your hearing
yeah.
aids. There's so much going on. And fortunately, with a lot of devices, especially Apple devices, there is a limiter in there which will limit the amount of volume. And yeah, I think that's impactful. However, it's still over a period of time. You keep listening, fatigue, and all of that, and a lot you can defeat it as well. So I mean,
Well, what
either way,
happened?
we got challenges.
Well, what happened with this one man is he had always had a flip phone. So she comes in and buys him, this expensive setup with the iPhone and the hearing aids, but she makes no arrangements. She just flies in, does it, flies back out. Makes no arrangements for him to learn how to use an iPhone. No arrangements on how to even put the hearing aids in. So he's clueless. He's older. He doesn't know about technology. He's totally clueless. So they just set on a shelf. He just continues with his flip phone, and he continues not hearing.
Mm.
As years go on, that affects your social life. It affects your ability to communicate. It affects your ability, I want to say, affects your personality. And it makes you more shut in, not wanting to be in social situations.
Yeah.
But anyway, what affects me is when I'm doing a treatment on somebody that can't hear, or they take their hearing aids out, for Pete's sake, I'm having to go right to their ear to talk to them. So I'll have to stop what I'm doing and then go right to their ear and say something, and then go back to what I'm doing and then go right up to their ear and talk and then go back. So I want them to wear their hearing aids when I'm doing a session so we can communicate. So when you have somebody that can't hear you, it's really at a disadvantage, even in a treatment setting. But now, going back to his situation, because he never did get to use those hearing aids, she took him to an attorney. He thought he was signing a trust for his kids to get his money. What she did is she took the rights away from him, and she took control of all his money, all his possessions, all his property. And so while he was visiting his son in Houston, she sold this house. This house was Art Deco, historic. It was designed by an architect professor at the college for an art professor. So it was like a two-story full of glass so she could do her artwork, these sunken fireplaces. It was very artistic and unique in a very historic part of town. And she sold it for peanuts and got rid of all his possessions, set him up in a retirement center that's way out of town, not even convenient for him to come in for his visits or see anybody. Then she told the staff at the retirement center not to let him see his friends or go out to eat with anybody, and isolated him. He came back so upset. But the key thing is it was because he could not hear and he trusted her that he got complete, his whole life got changed. So hearing is so important.
Oh,
Um, Now, I've had patients that are born, say they were a forceps delivery. And that's another thing. Ideally, you want to, if you think your baby's going to be too large to come out, you may want to be sure you have a midwife, somebody that's going to help you articulate that baby in the delivery process, because using forceps puts pressure on the cranial nerves, and you can have blindness and deafness with a forceps delivery. So I've had people that were born with that situation and it caused them to be deaf for life.
oof.
So I had some through nursing school. I had one of my best friends took sign language, and so I got to know a lot of deaf people in that process and learned sign language. So that's another thing. If you're adept to sign language and communicating in a different way, um, that's another thing. But a lot of people that are starting to slowly go deaf over time don't aren't learning sign language, and then they're not hearing things, or you have to look right face to face with them for them to hear what you have to say, even though they might have hearing aids on. Unless you're facing them, if you're behind them saying something, they can't hear you.
Mm.
So but what I wanted to say is we do provide acupuncture for hearing, just like I was telling you about the lady that plays at church, comes when she has episodes or situations where she's needing help. We do have ear candling, and I use a real high grade ear candle. It's not your average ear candle, and I special order it from this lady in Arizona. And she does a special, she uses different herbs and the wax and everything. So it takes about 30 minutes for one candle to burn. And the different herbs have different qualities for maybe it's more for sinus problems, or maybe it's more for emotional problems, or it might be more for the herbs will have different specific purposes. But a regular ear candle that you can get at the drugstore may take 5 minutes to burn. One of these takes 30 minutes. So we use a very high quality ear candle.
Now,
I
what
al-
I've heard ear candling before, but I'm not even 100% sure what it does for you. Can you explain?
Well, it creates a vacuum, and it's about maybe 18 inches long, and it fits inside the ear, but it's a cone that comes out, and you actually light it on fire at the end. Now, I have somebody laying face up because I don't want any fire coming on their face. A lot of times it's shown on the internet where somebody's laying on their side, and the candles going up and the fires above their face. I think that's unsafe. So I have people lay face up, and the ear candles I do one at a time are coming out from the side of their head. But I
What does it actually do though?
through creating the vacuum with that fire, it will pull out earwax. So it's a way of pulling out earwax and any fluid. So sometimes people just have a buildup of fluid from different kinds of, I want to say, believe it or not, like a dermatitis situation can cause rashes in the ear and fluid coming out.
Wow.
I have people that just have a buildup of earwax. So I do have drops that I apply with a kind of a bulb type suction. So I let the drops soak in for, say, 10 to 15 minutes, and then use the bulb to uh, pull the fluid out once the earwax softens up. So
So
sometimes,
would you say, Teresa, that's more effective? Because, I've heard of washes where, the and maybe something that draws it out. Would you say ear candling is the best method to pull that stuff out?
It's one of the best methods. And then a lot of times I'll combine those two things, soften up the earwax with the drops, and
Uh,
then use the ear candle to help pull it out. So
hmm.
sometimes the combination is helpful.
Wow.
And so anyway, and then I do electric stim. Either it's the e-stim regular electric stimulation, or I still use that Pashi Pashi, which is the World War II Japanese diode electric. Um, I use that also. I have some people that prefer the diode electric. They feel like they get more results. Then some people, it scares them, the idea of it. And so I'll just do regular eStim because you can control, as I'm turning up the dial, you can control let me know when you feel it. And then they have control of the situation.
So I wonder, ear candling, why a practitioner wouldn't use some device that has some suction. Why would it be creating a vacuum with a candle? Why is that better? I'm just asking. I don't know.
I think well, it's an age old practice, but I will say these particular air candles, and this lady that makes them is 78. So I've been wondering, okay, what's going to happen when she passes? I hope she passes this on to one of her kids or someone else, that so that
Mm,
this can still be made. But because the way she soaks it in these herbs and wax, it makes it a very
mm.
more intensive treatment than just the ones average ones you will pick up.
So,
But
in your experience, because I've always wondered about this, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being we all have tons of wax in our ears and it needs to be cleared out. It just accumulates. It could be affecting us. That's a 10. Like that's, way over there extreme. Where would you put the population on an average? This is not scientific, based on your experience of working with people that have troublesome earwax. What do you think?
that's a good question. There's some people that I don't know if it could be genetic. It could come from when they were a little kid and they were prone to ear infections.
Mm,
But there's some people that are more prone to earwax buildup, and we're talking serious earwax buildup. Because I've known people that have used like bobby pins to dig it out and that kind of thing. So that can be dangerous because you can puncture your eardrum. So,
do not try this at home. Like
so
even when I put a Q-tip in, I'm very careful. You go slow at that. Oh my gosh, I can't even.
well, I think it's important, and some people have an opinion about it, but
Hmm.
after I take a shower, and I use a towel to dry around my ears,
Yeah.
but I still use a Q-tip at a surface level to get all the moisture out. So I kind of make sure that I keep my ears
Mm,
clean. And
mm.
so I think a lot of people don't clean their ears,
Yeah.
and stuff builds up, and who knows what kind of dirt and things in the environment. Say you're a farmer and you're out in the field. I mean, everybody's got a different profession of what they may be, their environment is, of
Sure.
what they could expose their ears to. But what's important is that if you are farming, if you're mowing, if you're in manufacturing, if you're uh, whatever you're in, protect your ears. And we have the earplugs now. We've got headphones now, and even a lot of the younger people are using headphones to listen to stuff on their phone. So the only thing I can say is when I see someone walking down the street or walking across the street and they have uh, headphones on, they are not aware of their environment. They could get hit by a car if they're not paying attention.
And then there's that. And it's so interesting that we'll protect our eyes. We'll wear sunglasses. Something's coming at you. What are you going to you react to block it so it doesn't hit your eye. When it comes to your ears, we take it for granted. We don't even think about it. Yeah, it would be fine. Um, certainly as we said before, with all devices, you have a limiter on there to prevent it from getting past a certain level. Just be aware of it. Teresa, thank you for today. You run deep. Yes, your practice is the path to wellness. Yes, you do massage, acupuncture, holistic treatments and healing, but you're so passionate about helping people, even right down to protecting their hearing. I love it. Thank you. How do
You're
we find you?
welcome.
How do we connect with you? If somebody's got a
Okay.
question,
All right. Well, you can always connect through the website, Path to Wellness, Tulsa, Oklahoma, or tulsapath.com. And we're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, easy to access. You can make appointments online or give us a call. And I always, on my business card, I have my cell phone, so people can always text me and keep in touch.
you are our go-to when it comes to holistic healing and wellness. Seriously, and what we talked about today, so important. And anybody in the know saying the same exact thing. We're going to have a generation of people that have hearing challenges. Let's stop that.
It's true.
It's true and so important. Thank you again for today. I really appreciate it.
Okay. You bet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.